For this aircraft, there are 6 emergency exits.
Hello, everybody. This is Ron, your captain speaking. We are currently 30,000 feet in the air, and we haven't even left the airport. We just lit the joint. Just kidding, a little pilot humor there. We like to have fun. Our destination today is Casablanca, Morocco. So everyone, sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and prepare for takeoff. We will be.
Are you looking for a better way to play player props or daily fantasy sports? Well, look no further than Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the leading over-under daily fantasy game. Why? Because it's so easy to use and win. You can make your picks in under 30 seconds and win up to 10 times your money in one day. Right now, we have a special offer for our viewers and listeners of the 7-Footers podcast. All you have to do is sign up now and use the promo code 7-Footer, and Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Yep, that's right. They'll match your first deposit up to $100. So, join the over 150,000 others who found a better way to play and download the Prize Picks app today.
Seven Footers crew, what is going on? Jarod and Jenna, we are back, and it's the playoffs, baby, as you know, and the first round is coming down to the wire here, Jarod, and I cannot wait to hear you talk some smack today on some teams.
I don't know how much smack I'm gonna talk, but I'm gonna keep it real like I always do. Let people know. All right, here's the deal.
That's why I love it, Jarod. You always keep it real, guys. And remember to stick with us in the betting segments because Jarod is picking winners out here. And believe me, you want to make this money, baby. And I have written proof on my phone that people are doing your bets and actually really winning.
And
here.
winning, yeah, of course. Listen, I'm serious right here. I said every week I guarantee you one winner. We're doing it.
That's right. That's what I like to hear. Let's jump into it here because we got to get into the matchups before we even get into the slate of games going on this week. And tonight, let's talk about the number 1 seeded Heat and the Hawks. Now, the Heat are up in this series 2-0, and it seems like the Hawks just can't seem to get their footing here. I mean, Trae Young is ice cold and not in a good way.
Jenna,
that's my guy.
let me ask you a question. Why Trae complaining about foul calls, man? What's his deal? Why is he worried about, saying he's getting fouled and, he ain't getting to do his little ice tray shiver thing.
Because he can't take the heat in the kennel, baby. This is Miami Heat. This is what we talk about, this bully ball, atmosphere. And this is where they thrive. Like I always say, my famous line is their bread and butter. Jimmy Butler's balling out. He's not fighting Eric Spo anymore. I mean, it's good. It's good out here in these kennel streets.
Look, Miami... They're gonna sweep Atlanta. I mean, maybe Atlanta gets a game in 5.
A sweep?
I just look, they guard too well. And look, I hate sounding like a broken record, but this squad is not fully all bought in behind Trae. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasons are. I mean,
maybe
I have
they're
my
so
theories.
mad about that comment.
Listen, I have my theories. But regardless of all that, just from a pure X's and O's standpoint. And the Hawks, they played well yesterday, but Trae not lighting it up from 3, right? Finding that difficult. And Miami get into you physically. And Trae's small, right? It's hard. Not having Clint Capella is a problem for them, right?
Yes.
Okongwu's good, and I think he's going to be very good, but he's still a young player, right? And so now you're asking to play heavy playoff minutes and, be the man. It's difficult. Bogdanovich is good, but, he's often hurt. I love my guy, Kevin Huerter. This Hawks team, DeAndre Hunter, is excellent. Look, we talked about this last year after they went to the conference finals, that this team could win a championship soon because they have all the pieces. But they didn't come out this year with the requisite energy, focus, whatever it is, mindset it's different because they didn't make the conference finals last year, and we'll talk about this team later. But look how the Grizzlies attacked the regular season. The Hawks are a young team too. Why weren't they doing the same thing? So anyway, I don't like what I'm seeing over there. I don't think this is Nate McMillan's fault. I remember what Travis Schlenk did when he came out by midway through the season. Maybe I shouldn't have brought everybody back. When your GM is wilding and saying stuff like that, look, man, it's all bad. Jimmy, Bam, Kyle Lowry. I mean, Duncan Robinson in game one was like unconscious. Like Tyler Hero, Gabe Vincent, Max Strus. Like the Heat just developed these dudes who contribute in positive ways. This is just a matchup that it does not favor. It does not favor the Hawks at all. So yeah,
No.
Heat in 4 or 5.
Could you imagine and you know me, this is the kind of stuff that I love, but could you imagine the atmosphere, the playoff atmosphere down there now where like you got UD whispered in your ear as a rookie? Like, what are you saying? Like, oh, I just love to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah. I mean, you're Miami builds a culture. They have a culture of accountability. So everybody on that squad, they're not afraid to talk and call each other out when someone isn't doing their job, right? They foster and breed that. We saw the downside of that when Jimmy and Spo kind of, but I think those all theatrics just to get everybody fired up. But it works because they're already moved past that and they're locked in on the task at hand.
Yeah, they stay winning. All right, let's talk about a series that is a little less unpredictable, and that is the exciting Celtics Nets series. Now we have game 2 tonight that we're recording this on the 20th, Tuesday or Wednesday here, excuse me, used to Tuesdays. But yeah, let's get into this because Boston is up 1-0 and KD had an uncharacteristically bad game for his standards, and Kyrie drops 39, throws the double bird to the Celtics crowd. They're trolling each other. We know that's no secret, but the double bird was a little much, we'll say. But after the game, Steve Nash said, "I don't care," and his reasoning, Kyrie dropped 39. So What do you think is going to come back? Do you think they're going to come back and have a dominant game in game 2?
I think there's some interesting things to take from game 1. One, the way the Celtics defended Kevin Durant, right?
And without Robert Williams.
And without Robert Williams. They face guarded him, right? And then, or they start with Tatum on him, right? And then once he started to go down into his pin down move, a big guy like Robert Williams or Al Horford would immediately get right into him, right? And bang him and not let him get to his spots. What you're trying to do with a player like Kevin Durant is impede his progress and his movements, right? He wants to get to his spots in his little office, set up, and kill you all day with his mid-range game, take you out to the three-point line, do his thing. Well, the Celtics are like, nah, we're not letting you do that. We're going to bump you every single time. We're going to put 2 on you, sometimes 3 if we have to, right? Just to make this uncomfortable. Now, he is going to have to be tighter with the ball, knowing those double teams are coming, right? And Nash is going to have to potentially use Kyrie or some other shooters to help screen him. So that way the Celtics can't double, because if you let Kyrie screen and he flares off, you can't let Kyrie run wide open, right? Because that means that's a 3. It's one of the great shooters in the NBA, right? Or Seth Curry. So you have to run some different stuff to get Kevin open. I do think the referees will be aware of Boston's physicality. The Nets definitely sent the tape into the league office being like, yo, what's up with these fouls? Why aren't you calling them? And I expect a tighter whistle on Grant Williams and some of these guys tonight. So we'll see. I expect a bounce back game from Kevin Durant, because that's what superstar players do. They rarely have 2 poor playoff games in a row.
Yeah, especially him.
So, I expect him to come out ready to play. And it's not like he's going to just jack up 40 shots. It's more like he's just going to have a different mindset about him. It's like, all right, I've got to be better in all aspects of the game. The Nets did some interesting things defensively, I thought, too, as well, that were helpful in this game. Look, this series, I think, is going 7 games. We talked about it when we did our playoff preview show last week, but I do think Brooklyn wins tonight. When do we have that poor Marcus Smart and or poor Jason Tatum game, right? I mean, they're not going to be excellent the entire time, right? So,
yeah.
When are they going to kind of have their, okay, it's one of those games for you? And as good as Al Horford was in game 1, is he as effective in game 2? We'll see.
Well, let's talk about the X factor here, Ben Simmons. He has played 0 games this season, and now they are apparently, the Nets, I say they, are apparently targeting a return for possibly game 3, but doubtful, I'm believing, and then game 4. What do you know? Spill the tea and don't hold back. Tell us everything you know.
So all I know is that he's done some 4-on-4, more physical contact work this week, and he's coming through each period of contact, fine. As in they're able to then go and have contact again in his next workout. So all things being correct and equal, it's looking like he could potentially make his debut in game 4, which would be Monday night at home in Brooklyn. I think it's important for the Nets psychologically, if Simmons is going to come back in this series, that his first game be at home, right? They want the friendly confines. They want the crowd cheering and supporting. They want that adrenaline and that all the positive vibes and feels you get off your home crowd. They're going to want that to be part of it, right? Starting on the road in a place like Boston, probably not ideal. Now, what can they expect from Simmons? With the team that has KD and Kyrie, see, when he was on Philly, he was expected to be the number 2 scorer on that team. You have Embiid and you have him. I mean, we don't need you to do that here. We got 2 great scorers. We don't need you to do that.
Kick your feet up on the offensive end.
We need you to rebound, play defense, right? And the Nets have a problem. They are small on the perimeter. When they bring in their bench guys, except for Kessler Edwards and Nicholas Claxton. Kessler Edwards is 6'10", Claxton 6'7", Claxton 6'10". Everybody else they bring off the bench in a normal rotation, Jenna, is like 6'2" and smaller. When you go up against a team like Boston, it's got Tatum and Brown on the wings. That's not good, right? Like, you need size, and the Nets don't have any, right? Patty Mills and Seth Curry and Goran Dragic. It's like, those are just small dudes who are going to get attacked repeatedly. If you bring on a guy like Simmons, well, now we're talking. Now we can, and he's not going to start. They're going to play him in limited minutes, but if he can play minutes with you got KD, Simmons, Claxton, right? Right there, you got 6'10", 7 foot, 7 foot. Or 6'10", 6'10", 7 foot, depending on what, if KD feels like calling himself 7 foot that day, right? Like, that's excellent size now, right? Okay, you have 2 non-shooters, but your one non-shooter in Ben Simmons is a playmaker with the ball in his hands, right? He can get downhill, finish at the rim. If they collapse, he can kick out to an open shooter in the corner. So I think that he would do a lot for this team, but, Nets fans, don't expect him to be a miracle worker, right? This ain't Jesus walking on water out here in these streets. He ain't going to come out all of a sudden, play 38 minutes and chill. Like,
he might just get a few to, get his feet wet, a few meaningful minutes.
He hasn't played NBA basketball since last calendar year, 2021, in the playoffs. Okay? You don't go from inactivity to playing the most high leverage, intense games. That's not how this works.
Oh man, you kill me. But really quick, you said you think this is going 7 games. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think
I think Brooklyn wins tonight. I just feel like they come out. They as a squad, Kyrie and KD are those guys are playoff veterans. They know they let one slip. They could have won game 1, and they know they let that slip. So they're going to come out with, I think, a little extra focus and intensity tonight.
All right. Can't wait to see it very soon. All right. Let's move on and talk about the Bucks and the Bulls, because the Bucks are 1-0 and we're recording this on the 20th, like I said, and that game is tonight. What do you think is going to go down here?
Look, the Bucks kept it. The Bulls kept it close in game 1.
They did.
But
they fought.
But Jenna, do we honestly see that as a thing going?
No.
Look, the Bucks were kind of playing with their food a little bit, and they've been off for a whole week. Okay, granted, the Bulls been off for a whole week too, but I just,
But you automatically go into this, in my opinion, knowing if you're the Bulls that you have to work a little bit harder. Automatically,
you're undermatched.
Yeah.
They got Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. What? you got problems, and Brook Lopez. They're just so big. They're so big. Look. I expect Milwaukee to win this game tonight, go up 2-0, and really end this series as quickly as possible, because they want to have as much time rested as they can for their next round series. Milwaukee's the 3 seed, so that means they would face the winner of 2-7. And if Brooklyn and Boston is going 7, like we all think it is, they want those dudes to be bloodied, bruised, exhausted,
burned out,
right? So they can come in and put the hammer on them in game 1. So look for Milwaukee to make quick work of this series.
Oof, man, those Bulls! It was a good effort. All right,
the injuries just really messed them up this year.
Yeah, 100%.
It just because they played excellent. It's just bad timing with the injuries.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's harsh, especially when Lonzo Ball went down too.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's when it started.
because you can match if you put Lonzo Caruso out on the look, that's problems for you can cause
Mhm.
problems for Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and their ball handlers. So,
Yeah, I mean, Caruso's been balling out, so good effort. All right, 76ers and the Raptors. The 76ers are up 2-0, and this devastating Scotty Barnes injury could not come at a worse time for them because really he is their saving grace at this point.
yeah, as a rookie, he's like a Swiss Army knife, Jenna. He can do just about everything on the floor. Nick Nurse said just now before tonight's game that Barnes is progressing. He's not going to play tonight, but there's a possibility he plays in game 4. I mean, look, at this stage, if they don't win tonight to make it 2-1, if they go down 0-3, well, what's the point of bringing Scotty back for game 4? I mean, you ain't
Right.
winning 4 straight, right? You have a Joel Embiid matchup problem. You cannot stop him. That's problem number 1. And so, double, triple doesn't matter. He's making his free throws. He's passing out to open shooters. And they have no Matisse Thybulle in this game, Philadelphia. But, again, without Scotty Barnes, that's one extra weapon. Look, I was watching the game the other night. When you got to pass it out to Malachi Flynn late in the shot clock to make something happen, yeah, that's not a recipe for success. Not a recipe for, and it sounds like I'm like dissing Malachi Flynn. I'm really. It's more just
No,
like
it's just
like these are the facts, right? It's like
Yeah.
and they have a size problem too. Fred VanVleet's small, right? It's just Pascal's played well, but like he has to do so much.
outmatched.
OG had a good game too, but still not enough, right? I mean, they just don't, like you said, outmatched. And Tyrese Maxey, they have not found a way to stop that dude. So, it's
is
looking
what
rough.
it is.
I did pick the Raptors on our betting show tonight because I'm like, all right, it's a pick 'em game, basically -1.5 for the 76ers. And the Sixers do tend to like do stupid things and like get too complacent and comfortable. I could see them I could see them screwing around and being a way tighter game than they want to be. And the home crowd in Toronto, really kind of gives them that final push over the edge. But this series is wrap it up quickly. If Barnes wasn't injured, I thought this was going 6 or 7 with the Raptors with a real chance of winning. But missing these games, this is just bad luck for the Raptors.
Yeah, couldn't agree more there. Damn. Maybe you'll get him next time. All right, let's talk about the Suns and the Pelicans because I would say get out the brooms, but Devin Booker went down with what they're saying is mild hamstring injury in game 2. Now the Pelicans took that game. Series is tied 1-1. I mean, hey, Chris Paul is doing amazing things in this series, but is it enough without Booker? I would say so, right?
So it depends on what the hamstring injury is, right? Are we talking a hamstring tear? Are we talking about a strain?
I just heard mild.
Right, which means nothing. Like
Exactly.
a mild hamstring injury means what?
Exactly.
What grade
is it? A partial tear or full tear?
Is it a grade 1,
tear?
grade 2? What? Right.
Yeah.
And of course, they're not telling us. Look, be that as it may, the Suns are good enough and have played many games this season without Devin Booker, and they have the league's #1 record for a reason. They should still win this series without Devin Booker. They're going to have to be sharper and more attentive to details. But this team has proven they can do that. Again, they won 63 games this year. Best team in the league, right? There's a reason why. It's because they play to their strengths and they know they can execute in crunch time. They know their assignments on defense. Everybody plays hard. We need DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. Those guys have to step up. Okay, we're going to need Jay Crowder and Torrey Craig to start hitting threes from the outside. But I have no doubt in my mind that the Suns can still win this series in 5 games, maybe 6. But they do want to kind of move this along because, again, they want to get rest, get time off, have Devin Booker if he's going to be out multiple games, and we don't know. Remember, James Harden tore his hamstrings last year in the playoffs, and we saw what he looked like coming back on one leg, right? So
yeah,
you want to get Book as much time off to rest as needed. You don't have to rush him back, so they're prepared. And look, Jenna, the reality of this is that, and I say this every year, and you know this, I say the margins are super thin in the playoffs, right? A day ago, we're like, man, Suns going to the finals, this and that. Hamstrings, now question marks, right?
Yeah.
This stuff turns on a dime. You twist an ankle, all of a sudden, all your great depth and all this stuff you have ain't looking so great no more, right? And now things are in question. So it's a tough break for Phoenix. But again, I do think they're good enough to beat the Pelicans with the squad that they have. They have to be sharper, more attentive to detail.
I agree. I mean, hopefully he comes back soon. Huge loss for them, and they've been surging. So we shall see. But let's move on and talk about another exciting series, the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. It is tied 1-1. The pace of these games has been incredible. Ja has been incredible. I mean, they even have a sideshow with Ja's dad and Karl Anthony Towns' dad. So, I mean, what else more do you want in a small market, man? I mean, you can't beat this.
Jenna, I was fortunate enough to be down in Memphis for game 2. Just being on the vibe, getting the vibe of the city. This city loves this team, Jenna. Like in a way that, and you know me, I'm not some like, oh, middle America, small. I find any of that Americana bullshit. But I will say, there is a way in which this team's market, the Memphis area, supports and loves on this team more so than any other. New Yorkers love the Knicks just because it's just the sheer size. There are 8 million people in New York City. Like Memphis has got what? I don't know, 600,000 maybe. Like it's just like the vibe and the connection they feel and that grit and grind mentality of the city. Kind of like, I'm using all the tropes that I hate, but all that collar, hard work, crap and tropes that I hate using. But it's true, right? I was talking to an artist over the weekend. I'm, potentially doing a story on him. Look out for that on True Hoop. And he said to me, we're a blue collar city, man. We grind. This team grinds. Nothing good ever happens to us. And so, when good things happen, we have to celebrate it, right? And it's not just him that said that. You felt it like in the way he was talking, Jenna, like just how much this team means, and everybody in the town is talking about them. It doesn't matter. My Uber and Lyft drivers, hotel concierge, it doesn't matter. Everybody is like, they just love it, man. They're just big, big fans. And, game 1, they came out flat. The Grizzlies did. They let Memphis kind of get up on that big run. And part of that, I think, was due to the fact that the Timberwolves came off of that emotional play-in victory. Grizzlies have been off for a week, kind of chilling, right? Minnesota beat them to all the 50-50 balls, all that jazz. Well, that was not the case last night. They were, and the Grindhouse FedEx Forum was loud. Those towels were swirling. It was whoop that trick came on in the third. John Morant's daughter's out there dancing and I'm like,
oh my God.
It was, and as you mentioned, T. Morant and Karl Anthony Towns Sr., little friendly back and forth. He's like, you want to get a little lead? You want to talk that talk? It's just a little all. Listen, this team just has a swag and a confidence about them, the Grizzlies, as does the Timberwolves. They play the same way. I was down towards the visitors tunnel towards the end of the game. Mm-hmm. So as when they play, all I do is win and the confetti comes out and all that. Yeah. The Timberwolves are walking, right? They're all walking by me, and Anthony Edwards walks right by me. And a Memphis Grizzly fan says something over the top I couldn't hear, but I hear Ant-Man respond. He goes, "It's just one game, bro." And so the reality of it is, back to the basketball, it is just one game. The series is tied 1-1. Now, Memphis has been the best team, the better team all season long. They're the number 2 team record-wise in the NBA. Number 2. And they like that for a reason. When they play to their capabilities, they are excellent. And I do believe they will go into Minnesota, This series will be 2-2, I believe, coming out. And then I think Memphis wins game 5. And then they go on the road, take care of business in game 6, wrap it up. Now, it could even be a situation where Memphis is like, they kind of put the hammer down, like, no, we're going to win this in 5. Sure, anything's possible. But I'm going to give Minnesota some credit. And look, Karl Anthony Towns is going to have to play better. Anthony Edwards, he's kind of trick or treat, right? He said this after the game. I take bad shots every game. They just fell last game. They didn't fall this game. Next game they might, right? D'Angelo Russell's had some rough games, right? He's due for a night where he gets hot. But Desmond Bain is due for a night where he gets hot from 3 as well. So, I think that, and I think also from an X's and O standpoint, Taylor Jenkins found something. He knows that he cannot have Steven Adams on the floor for extensive minutes against Karl Anthony Towns because he gets attacked in those situations. But when they go to that Jaren Jackson at the 5, Brandon Clark at the 4 lineup, Dylan Brooks at the 3, I think you start seeing some things where it's like, ooh, we can switch. We can do different things here, right? And we feel comfortable with if Jaren is out on Carl or Brandon gets switched on him or whatever. So this is an exciting series. These two teams are fun. Pat Bev is like, they hate him in Memphis.
He got
my
a
God.
tech in the first quarter.
Jenna, those fans.
What was the
hate
place like
Patrick
when he
Beverley.
got the tech?
Oh, they were roaring with approval. Like they hate this. It's like, you know, when a player touches the ball and it's like, it's like they're just they don't like him, right? But Pat Bev is that kind of player, right? You hate him when he's your opponent, but love him when he's on your team, right? He is the classic hate him, love him player, right? When he's yours, you're like, thank God. When he's not, you're like, oh Jesus, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot tonight,
right? And so, but this series is fun. Taylor Jenkins doing some cool things. Again, I'm excited. Looking forward to Game 3 later on this week.
Same. I love that you got to see your guy, Triple J.
Trip had an excellent game too. Look, he started out, he had those 2 quick fouls. I was like, oh no, not tonight. But then bounced back. He had 4 of 7 threes, block shots, rebounds. Like, look, when he's playing free, he's so talented. When he can be that guy next to Ja, you can consistently say, okay, you're going to play excellent defense, get your blocks, rebounds, give us 20 points a night, hit 2-3 threes a night. That's what gets this team to the next level.
Let's go. Love it. Oh, remember when he was just a young
a young 19-year-old
on our podcast. Scroll through the archives to check it. Click every
That's
episode along the way. Love to hear it. All right, let's move on and talk about the Warriors and the Nuggets. The Warriors are up 2-0, and at this point, I don't know what is going to go down because Jordan Poole in the lineup now, it is just a recipe for domination at this point. That's the taste of what we got for the first time in the last game.
Jenna, that Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson lineup. Yikes.
Like what?
Yikes. It's just the way they move off the ball and Draymond orchestrates everything with the handoffs. It's just cute. And Jordan Poole shoots the ball his release is so quick. Like, look, man, here's the thing. The Denver Nuggets do not have the lineup that can exploit that. So This is the Warriors' new version of death lineup. We're going small. We dare you to keep up with us, right, offensively. Okay, well, the Nuggets clearly don't have players to do that. Again, I'm not trying to disrespect players, but Monty Morris and Will Barton and Austin Rivers,
No, I mean, their 2 stars are on the bench right now, injured. So, I mean,
and to be fair, Murray and Porter Jr. ain't elite defenders. Okay, so let's not, right? But at least on the other end, Porter Jr. could punish you because he's 6'10", right? Like you could at least have, but Denver has nothing to punish them on the other end to make them change for going small. And they're really right now looking forward. There really is no team that can really truly punish them on the other end when they decide to go small like that. Maybe Dallas, if they would end up playing Dallas, but that would mean that Dallas would be beating Phoenix, and that would be the conference finals matchup, which, hey, it could happen because Dallas has got Luka, Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Bigger dudes who make it harder for, those smaller guys to guard. But Phoenix, when Booker's healthy, right, they can punch on the other end. I mean, the ideal team to take them out of this would be a healthy LA Clippers team with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, but that's not reality, right? That's not, because then you got 2 6'7", 6'8" wings. It's like, okay, you go small. We're going to kill you on the other end, right? Like, because Draymond can't guard everybody, right? So, the talk right now is Nikola Jokic, not a worthy MVP, blah, 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 all this stuff. Look, for the last time, MVP is a regular season award. Gonna say it again for those of you in the back. NBA MVP is a regular season award.
It's truth.
This is a bad matchup for Denver, and you're realizing how bad this team is around Jokic. They have nothing. And again, I always say this, Jenna, in the regular season and playoffs are 2 different things, right? Because in the playoffs, we know your tendencies. You don't get to play Houston, Oklahoma City, Orlando, Indiana, all these terrible teams.
No nights off.
No nights off. Every team you play is good. Well, and we know all your tendencies, and Warriors are healthy now, look, man, they're looking scary. And now with this injury to Phoenix that we talked about, listen, and the Warriors never lost confidence. Steph and Draymond and their big three always thought, oh, we win the title this year. And listen, let's not overreact. It's early. It's 2 games. And I just said at the top, margins are thin, right? Steph Curry gets hurt again. So who knows, right?
You just never know either. Like,
right.
Hey.
You never know. But right now they're looking excellent.
Last note on the Warriors. I know you don't like this, like comparing players, anything, but this has been a huge topic, especially since Jordan Poole has been huge and surging. Do you see similarities in his game to Steph? Like everybody is seemingly making it
the shooting
out to be?
The shooting for sure, right? Like, I mean, he's not as, I mean, Steph's greatest shooter of all time. So saying someone is not as good as Steph is not saying they're bad. Jordan Poole's elite. He's just not as good as Steph, right? Like, but he has the range to shoot from. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
I would say Steph's playmaking is a bit better than actually a lot better than Poole's. But Poole ain't no slouch, and Poole's got a decent handle, man, getting to the rack and finishing. I mean, listen, they both move off the ball. Think about it. How did he learn the game, Jenna? Under the tutelage of Steph Curry, right? So, I mean,
it's true.
Of course,
was he on a rookie deal?
Yeah, of course. And by the way, anybody could have drafted Jordan Poole. He was picked 28th, so 2017 could have had him. Just
nice spot to be in right now,
right? But the Warriors took him, incubated him, right? He went down to the G League again. He learned watching Steph and the different ways he approaches it, how to move off ball. Look, you know why the Warriors are so hard to defend? Because there's constant motion all the time. Look, I say this all the time. The NBA's got the best basketball players in the world. Trying to stop Luka Doncic or Kevin Durant or any of these great isolation scorers is fucking hard, okay? It's very hard to do. But if you're as a team, as a defense, you know that's all I have to worry about is one player isolating against us, we can figure some things out. You know what you can't figure out? Flare actions going on one side. Back cuts. Whoa. Too much movement, and your brain has to process that quickly. The great Hubie Brown said, you set screens for one reason, to make the defender think, right? Because when the screen comes to get set, you're going, okay, first, what am I doing? Am I switching or am I staying at home? Wait, who am I going? Jenna, I already asked 3 questions.
I like that.
And there's more questions to ask. I already asked 3 questions in half a second. Meanwhile, while I'm thinking of the answer, players already by me. You see what I'm saying? It's just, and that requires communication on the defensive end for your teammates, yelling out what you're supposed to do, and you being so locked into your game plan that you know where you're supposed to be. You know what happens when you're fatigued, Jenna? You make mistakes, and you don't know where you're supposed to be. Your brain just, it's not as, think about it, right? Like, there's a reason they tell you not to drive while you're drunk. Why? Because drinking impairs your motor skills, right? Your reaction time is slower, right? It's a similar thing when you're exhausted. Your brain just cannot process what it needs to. And in the NBA playoffs, you need to process fast, like a supercomputer. And man, when those Warriors are clicking and the ball's popping around and man, if your brain ain't computing, death.
See ya. All right, let's move on and talk about the Mavericks and the Jazz because Luka is out. He could be returning, but it's looking dicey right now. But the thing is, with Luka out, the Mavs still won. Again, huge game behind Jalen Brunson, but are they is Utah underperforming at this point still?
Jenna, Utah looks like a team that knows they're about to be broken up whenever their season ends. That's how they looking to me. You know, I thought that when the Doncic injury was announced, that could be a potential galvanizing force for them to win this round and potentially move forward and advance and get to that conference finals and then change the whole tenor of things. But what it's saying to me is that ain't nothing going to change the tenor of that. Whenever this ends, and they keep messing around, it might end in round 1 because it's 1-1 right now, and Luka may be back for game 3. He hasn't been ruled out of game 3. Yeah. Listen, if they lose in round one. I mean, as I said, it's already going to get blown up. The question is, who's going? Is it Donovan? Is it Rudy? Is it both? Who knows? We know Quinn's probably gone as well. Like, it's just bad juju out there in Utah. And, it's a shame because that was a team that was the number one team in the regular season for a couple years and just weren't able to get over that hump. Just were not able to find the right connection between their two max guys in Donovan and Rudy. And they didn't do a good enough job putting together a roster that would allow capable defenders on the perimeter. I mean, you guys are getting blown by and you're putting a lot of pressure on Rudy. And, Donovan Mitchell's a superstar or a burgeoning superstar, but he's got to have more of a commitment on the defensive end. And he is not. And so, it would really be a shame if they end up losing to this Maverick. I mean, because as I said, it's getting broken up anyway, but losing to the Mavericks when Luka's not really even playing.
Not a good look. And that is that. That is all she wrote for today. But the playoffs are moving. It's fleeting. The first round is going to be over before we know it. And guys, we are here with you the entire way until the Larry O'Brien arrives. So don't you guys go anywhere. Hang with us every Tuesday. And then, of course, Jarod, all the rest of the good spiel.
As always, folks, you know where to find us. We are proud partners of the Props Network. So excited for our guys there. Make sure you check out our gambling show. We usually do it on the same day as our pod on Tuesdays. Today is Wednesday, so we did it today as well. We gave you some picks. Check that out. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that. At 7footers Pod on Twitter, at 7footers Podcast on Instagram, at JS Hector, at Jenna Lemoncelli. And until next time, everybody, peace.
Spent a couple years out here with these raps, trying to have a plan that we made come true. Applied to some jobs, but I ain't hit back. I don't want to try.